During the first half of the 1970s, there were few acts in American soul who notched as many ruby-packed albums as the Spinners, and from their sixth studio album, the 1975 release Pick of the Litter, the track Sweet Love of Mine. Love that chord right there. I think there's some like suspended third, landing on like suspended thirds and then releasing them, giving that kind of like elevated landing.
Since you've been gone, my life has changed, but my love remains the same.
I think there's like a major seventh in there.
Though you belong to someone new, now I must play the losing game till you come back again. My love will make me wait for you, so I'm laughing to keep my pride.
Oh, just beautiful change right there with the lush strings just filling it out, and the major seventh chords, of course, getting that kind of that slanted effect. That
And I'm holding my tears inside. You can never destroy this truth, sweet love of mine. Sweet love of mine. Sweet, 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 sweet love of mine. Sweet love of mine. Sweet, 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 sweet love of mine.
really well timed interjections right there behind the main vocalist.
I must pretend my eyes are blind, so go on and take your time. You might decide to change your mind. I play the clown who laughs and jokes, while my life goes up in smoke. I love you till the end of time, so I'm laughing to keep my pride, and I'm holding my tears inside. You can never restore this truth, sweet love of mine.
Holding my pain inside. What was that lyric again? It was kind of basically the same, a similar point being made as in Tears of a Clown, like trying to keep sadness in, trying to put up a face of bravado, trying to just remain dignified to the outside world while like hurting inside.
Love of mine. Sweet, 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 sweet love of mine. Sweet love of mine. Sweet, 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 sweet love of mine.
That change right there is just one of the ultimate. Gives the song such angularity and just beauty.
So I'm laughing to keep my pride, and I'm holding my tears inside. You can never restore this truth, sweet love of mine.
The very beautiful, slightly melancholy yet uplifting Sweet Love of Mine off Pick of the Litter by the Spinners, released on Atlantic in 1975 with backing by MFSB Orchestra, courtesy of Philadelphia International Records, and produced by Thom Bell. Yeah, I love his production work. The lushness of it all had that harp in there, you know. And let's see. Let's hear another track from the album, one where I actually can access the lyrics online. You Made a Promise to Me. The choral electric sitar.
To whom it may concern, dig it. Each time we love, we learn how to be sure. Knowing is trusting. These were your famous lines. Don't live a life of lies. I gave you all my time, dig it, but in return I find one hopeful dream that tends to wander, hanging me on a cloud. You spoke these words out loud. You made a promise to me, you'll never go. Io non andrei mai. You made a promise to me, you'll never go. Then you walked out, left me in doubt.
Yeah, there's something from a different language in there. Looks like Italian. Let's see. To whom it may concern, dig it. Each time we love, we learn how to be sure. Knowing is trusting. These were your famous lines. Don't live a life of lying. I gave you all my time, dig it. And in return I find one hopeful dream that tends to wonder. Hanging beyond the cloud, you spoke these words out loud. You made a promise to me, you'll never go. Io non andrei mai. You made a promise to me, you'll never go. Then you walked out, left me in doubt. So it's about the disappointment in there's a Quora page asking for I could just pull up the translator, but I'm wondering what this Quora thread. Someone says, I think it's bad Italian, only in the sense that it's a direct translation of the English. Means I would never go, but that isn't what the person would promise. I will not ever go is what the original wording would be. Let's see. And what does the... Oh, another person says, my best guess is phonetically it means do not stop me. I gotta do my own, enter it in the translator. Let's see here. Io never go is how it translates when I guess they're kind of right. These because when you enter like when you enter a phrase into the translator, you're not necessarily getting the right order of phrasing in another language, because some of these other languages, they'll place like I don't know, like the adjective will come after the noun or something like that. Yeah.
What makes you think it's right to play around in spite of what I say. You justify me.
There's like a count that's like taken out. One of the bars is kind of scalloped. I think da 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 da. Yeah, I think there's a 3/4 thrown in, kind of giving it kind of a jump. Kind of feel like.
Did you trade love for fame? The shrew cannot be tamed. My love for you is strange. Your love has seemed to change. Just like the bee, roses attract you. They lead you on your way. When flowers fade away.
I gotta say, I really love that line. The shrew cannot be tamed. Yeah. There's a couple of interesting lines in this second verse. Let me go through it here. What makes you think it's right to play around in spite of what I say? You just defy me. And there's that jump in there, that 3/4, that bar of 3 thrown in. Did you trade love for fame? The shrew cannot be tamed. My love for you is strained. Your love has seemed to change. Just like the bee, roses attracts you. They lead you on your way. When flowers fade away. Ah. So she's kind of like a bee. I like the metaphor.
You made a promise to me. You'll never go. Io non andre mai. You made a promise to me. You'll never go. Then you walked out. To me, you'll never go. Io non andre mai. You made a promise to me. You'll never go. Io non andre mai. You made a promise to me. You'll never go. Io non andre mai.
Ah, the Spinners. You made a promise to me from the 1975 album Pick of the Litter. Huh, was this released as a single? This track seems like it's just screaming to be a singles released, and they released Games People Play off the album and Love or Leave. Neither of the two songs I just played. I knew that the last one I played was a deep cut, but I didn't grow up in a market where we had stations that played, crossover. Much like frankly, the only song I heard on the radio growing up was Could It Be I'm Falling in Love, and maybe it's a shame I knew from the 90s cover, but I'll Be Around, I guess I had heard a few times. But the market I grew up in, basically you heard Motown on like Golden Oldies radio. And then you heard like post-thriller, like R&B crossover. But that period of like 1970 to 1981 era of soul, not really in this market, not really in the Portland area on any of the stations here. And so when I got into album play, heavy serious album collecting and deep cuts, exploring albums front to back, that the 1970 to 1981 era became the period that intrigued me most because it was the kind of dark spot in terms of exposure. Uh, yeah, and it turned out it was the most album oriented era of soul, and so there was a lot to explore. I mean, compared to like '60s Motown, albums tended to be just compiled as afterthoughts to singles, and you would be surprised to find that a lot of the popular Motown acts, what they would do to fill up albums is record each other's songs. It's like, I don't know, you get like the Four Tops covering Supreme songs to fill up albums, and vice versa. That trend went on, I guess, until like around 1968 when at least when like Norman Whitfield came on board and started producing the Temptations and leading them kind of in a more album-oriented direction, leading the way. And then, meanwhile, like the Chicago label that had the Impressions gave them a bit more artistic leeway, and then they started putting out more album-oriented releases, like in 1968 onward. And then Curtis Mayfield went solo, and in 1970 and kind of officially kind of heralded the age of album-oriented soul, concept soul. And then that paved the way, of course, for Marvin Gaye to do like What's Going On, and then finally Stevie Wonder turned 21, gained artistic freedom, and started making his album-oriented statements, starting in 1972 with Music of My Mind. And then around that time, the Philly industry took off, and bands like the Stylistics, the Spinners, the OJs, Harold Melvin, and the Blue Notes, they were being like developed by teams that really cared about albums. And it's like albums were made with the intention that listeners would listen to every cut. It wasn't just about singles anymore. It was about, and you would find like just real solid albums by these acts, no filler. Yeah, and teams of writers. Let's see who's responsible for the compositions that we just heard. Let's see, "Sweet Love of Mine," written by Vinnie Barrett and Bobby Eli. And "You Made a Promise to Me," written by Charles Simons, Bruce Hawes, and Joseph B. Jefferson. I don't know any of those names offhand. Let's see. There is both the first team that I mentioned though, they both have pages. Oh yeah, I was expecting to see the names Linda Creed and Thom Bell. Well, in the writing, yeah, Thom Bell produced it. Linda Creed has a writing credit on another track on the album. I Don't Want to Lose You. Vinnie Barrett. What did he? Oh, he's written a lot of songs for Luther Vandross and Bobby Eli. Oh, big page on here. Sister Sledge, Isaac Hayes, the Dells, Regina Bell, the Delphonics, the Whispers. Yeah. Contributions can be heard on many recordings, including Teddy Pendergrass, David Bowie, Hall & Oates, Patti LaBelle, Elton John, Phyllis Hyman. Yeah, I guess a whole bunch of, Blue Magic, the main ingredient. Yeah. So they're quite an accomplished team there behind "Sweet Love of Mine." And the vocals, I am going to assume that Billy Henderson was the vocalist out in front doing the lead, because his name is like front of the line. They're all, the vocalists are all listed on a single line, but his name is always up front. Yeah, and then with the four other guys joining him in and trading words at select moments during the chorus and such, and then three female backing vocalists. And then the MFSB strings and horns, and yeah. The Spinners, their sixth studio album, Pick of the Litter, one of their best. Their output could be rather let's just say between 1972 and 1975, they put out three really solid albums. The Spinners, their third studio album, and their first in this, I guess, with Thom Bell, almost sounds like it could be a greatest hits album. I mean, it's got like "Could Be I'm Falling in Love," "Ghetto Child," "I'll Be Around," um, and then in 1974 they put out two albums, "Mighty Love." That one I have to work through again. I have to get back to that one and reevaluate it. I at the time I more comment on that later. But the other album they put out, new and improved that year, I can really vouch for. A lot of great songs in that one, like "Smile," "We Have Each Other," "Then Came You," "Sitting on Top of the World." Yeah, and then in 1975, "Pick of the Litter," another Ruby packed album with the two songs I just played. Plus like the games people play, just just as long as we have love. Yeah, and then after that, I was somewhat more challenged to find a lot as I to recommend as I went ruby mining. "Happiness is Being with the Spinners" from 1976. I liked the track "Tony, My Love." The Rubber Band Man was all right. And I didn't really explore the catalog after that, although they did have, I guess it was kind of rough sledding after that, although they did have a big comeback in 1980, 81 thereabouts with, I watched a Spinners documentary about 6 months ago. It was on YouTube, yeah. They had a big comeback in 1979-80 with a cover of the Four Seasons, and I think another song around that time. And then in 1983 thereabouts, there was almost another comeback that got just abruptly cut short somehow. And then yeah, yeah, they almost had like an 80s like third coming, and sad. Yeah, ups and downs. Yeah, classic tale of ups. Yeah. Anyway, for more rubies and sapphires from the catalog of the from the Spinners catalog from the first half of the 70s anyway, see the directory of albums by American soul artists linked in the description below for red hot tracks and tasty purples from the albums that I mentioned, as well as other like-minded soul acts of the period, like the Stylistics, the other bands kind of lumped into the Philly category, as well as many other areas of soul from the time period. Solo artists, solo singers, and bands, and onward into the 80s. And like and subscribe, follow me on social media, and leave a comment if there are any observations you have about the two songs we just heard, the chord progressions, the arrangements, the lyrics. And until next time, this is Zaragon, the world's most air travel trimaximalist, signing off.